Hello, everybody. Hey, and welcome to another edition of Courtside with Christy and Gabe right here on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. I am Christy Winter Scott, joined as always by my guy, Gabe Ibrahim. Gabe, you know what? It feels like it's been a month of Sundays
Yep.
since we've gotten together here courtside. It's been a
Yeah.
minute.
It has been a minute. We are back,
You're
and
back.
it's been far too long. We just talked for like 30 minutes because we're catching up with each other. But Christy has been uh, doing some Wizards games, doing some Wizards Studio shoots, just the superstar stuff that she does.
Oh
Uh,
no, all hoops.
all
Shooting.
hoops, all
Keep
hoops, all the
shooting.
time. And I've been getting used to coaching high school basketball. And as I told Christy, she told me one time that she's like stays up until 3 watching tape. And last night I did the same exact thing.
There you
So
go. You're in it. They got
I'm
you.
glad
You're hooked. You're
I'm
hooked.
glad I have a mentor like Christy to warn me about that kind of stuff. But as we are back, we have some huge news that is just amazing to share. Obviously, you see Christy with her Brittney Griner shirt.
That's right.
Um, everyone knows that Brittany's back home
Back.
from her Russia captivity, thanks
Yeah.
to the efforts of just so many people,
Yeah.
from the Biden administration to Brittany's wife to Brittany's agent to the WNBA to the players to the fans to all of us. Kept saying her name and making sure that we could talk about her. And she's now home. And now, Christy, even better
Back.
news. She's announced that she intends to play for the Phoenix Mercury next year, which is like it is all Christmas come early, and this is just one of the best gifts I think we've received in the past few years. It's amazing news.
Oh, I mean, tremendous news today, Gabe. And, regardless of whether she played again ever in
Mm-hmm.
any capacity, whether it be USA basketball, whether it be in the WNBA with Phoenix, I mean, the fact that she is back here
Yeah,
and alive and safe and with her
and
family.
healthy.
Oh my gosh. Like that to me is the true gift. But the extra with the cherry on top is her wanting to play again. And it's a safe haven. I mean, just being around the game. I mean, for me, even now, it's a safe haven just to be in a gym. Like, it's like, I don't know, it's cathartic. So I know for her to get back and to be able to play, like the first thing that she did was dunk the ball. She had the
Mm-hmm.
ball in her hand. First thing was just dunk it. Like, how exhilarating must that have been for Brittney Griner to do that? But we love you, BG. And I know she said she wants to thank so many people face to face and look people in the eye who really stayed with her through this whole ordeal. But I mean, just to know that she's back and to know that she wants to play. I mean, for us, it's a bonus to be able to see
Yep.
her gifts on the court once again, but also to see that sisterhood back in
Yeah.
place and the puzzle piece that was missing all last season for Phoenix, which must have been emotionally devastating. Every practice to come in and not see her face, every game to come in and not have her presence in the locker room. I mean, just being on a team, you know what that feels like,
Yeah.
and you know when people are there, and you know when people are missing, and just to know that they're going to be back whole again, it just does something for my spirit,
Yeah.
and I know it does something for theirs. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that welcome home BG things feel as the season
Yeah.
unfolds in the WNBA, because I know when she comes here to DC, I'm grabbing her. So
Yeah.
I just already know that, and I might miss
Well,
Christmas that day. Who knows?
I
But
think
I'm grabbing her, and I'm not letting go. And yeah, and I hope my kids can go to the game when they're here, because they've been huge fans of Brittney Griner over the years. So I hope they can give her a big hug as well.
Yeah, we'll see how long the love fest lasts when she's scoring 30 and 10 on you in the season, like we know BG is going to do. But
She's gonna be good. Yeah,
what you said like about basketball being a safe haven, just like I was
yeah,
thinking about her in the gym, coming
yeah.
home, and you just want to be in a place where you feel safe. You want to be in a
Absolutely.
place where you feel at home. And I
Yeah,
know for you, for me, for WNBA players, for WNBA coaches, that place is a basketball court.
absolutely.
Or being with our family, and she got to do both.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's just so incredible, and I can't imagine the emotion of it. And I'm just so happy for her. I feel like it's remarkable how much she can feel comfortable and safe immediately after this entire ordeal to come home and say, yeah, I want to play. Yeah, I want to go say thank you to the people who helped me. I want to go advocate for other people who are in my situation. So
Right.
I need to be out there. I need to grab the platform to do it. I think that's just remarkably brave and takes
Yeah.
an uncommon amount of courage and compassion from
Absolutely.
both Cheryl and Brittney Griner,
Yeah.
and just really want to say thank you to them for providing us with an example. And I will be very happy to see BG playing basketball again, because
Me
it
too.
is a joy. Yeah, and the mock off season's coming out next week, and we didn't know, like, we did it before Brittney was home,
Oh,
or
okay.
now she was playing. So it might be a little wonky, but I'm looking at the Phoenix team now. I'm like, oh, BG's back. Like, this is gonna look real nice. So we'll talk about all that when
Yeah.
free agency rolls around. But just
Yeah.
just wanted to say we're so happy for her, and
Definitely.
it feels like a weight off our shoulders. I can't imagine what it feels like for all her family and everyone who had worked so hard to make this happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know, with Skylar Diggins Smith, I know she's expecting her second baby. And, I know she made comments last year, like, I mean, the questions that you're asking right
Yeah,
now are basically insignificant to
yeah,
what we are going through as her sister. So I just I felt for them then,
hmm
the whole team. Like I said, missing their sister on the court, in the locker room, and as a teammate. But even bigger than that is that they're family too. I mean,
yeah,
that the team is your family too. I don't
yeah.
care. Like, if you've been on a team, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't been on a team, ask players who are on a team what that is, because it's very special, and it's a lifelong bond that you cannot replicate. Um, and so just to know that she's going to be back in that environment where the inclusivity, where she can be herself, where she can just play the game that she loves, and be around people that are like-minded in that
Yeah.
sisterhood, man, to me, I'm just like, I'm thrilled for her. Like, I can't stop smiling, because I can just only imagine her walking in that locker room and how she's going to be just embraced, not just physically, but emotionally as well, and the compassion, like you said, um, of what she's been through, and now she's back. I mean, that's just, man, that's a lightning rod to me. I mean, going through
Oh
the
yeah,
room, it's going to be amazing. So I can't stop smiling right now just
yeah,
thinking of it. So I know it's going to be an amazing moment for sure.
yeah. It's gonna be very emotional, and I'm
Yeah, yeah,
not sure we're ready for it. But I think it's very exciting, and again, just so happy to have
yeah.
BG
Thrilled for
home
her.
and whole, and
Yeah,
whew, can't wait to see her on the court, or doing anything, honestly, just whatever she
yeah.
wants to do. Like,
EG.
we're happy to see her home, and I also definitely, and we're definitely going to hear her talk a lot more about the other Americans that are in her situation. I think she's going to help a lot of people, because
Absolutely.
if you don't think WNBA players are going to do that, you have not been paying attention to
Absolutely.
what this league has been doing for years and years and years. I mean,
Yeah.
they step up. They don't just say things; they do it. So I'm just so excited for her to be home, and for everyone involved. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I can't. Man, that first moment when she comes back is gonna be crazy.
Mhm.
And we have a long time to get prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I do want to move on to some college basketball.
All right.
Yeah, let's get into it. I know it's so hard to transition, because it's like we just want to spend like 30 minutes saying we're happy and we're excited and we want to see her on the court and we want to see her doing stuff. But we have some stuff to talk about on the court. I think it starts with the Maryland Terrapins. I
Oh,
think you're familiar with them. I
a
think
little
you might
bit.
be.
Little
I think
five
you
one.
may.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
Christy,
they
I gotta
can ball.
tell you,
Talk to me.
I'm confused. This is
Uh-oh.
a confusing basketball team.
How
We've
so?
s- we've said this for years, haven't we? For the last couple of years, it's a confusing basketball team, because all right, let's look at their schedule. Okay, so they lose to South Carolina.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They go on
Without
the road
Diamond Miller, without
with
Diamond.
Without Diamond Miller.
Yeah.
They beat Baylor on the road.
On the road.
Come back, lose to DePaul in the Thanksgiving tournament,
Yeah.
and kind of handily too, to DePaul team that's okay. Then they beat Notre Dame on a Diamond Miller buzzer beater, which was
Diamond
awesome,
Dagger. Diamond Dagger.
in South Bend,
Yeah.
in a hostile environment.
Hostile.
come back home, lose by 23 to Nebraska.
I know. I don't know.
Then they beat Purdue by only 3 points,
Yeah.
then beat UConn by 7 points.
Yeah.
What's like, why, how, what's happening with this team?
I think they're still trying to find out who they are,
Yeah.
right? I think they have a lot of pieces. Like you said, Diamond Miller was missing in the South Carolina game.
Mm-hmm.
And that game was like a 3-4 possession game until the little dust up and review of play, and then everything fell apart for Maryland after that, and South Carolina had their way in College Park.
Yeah.
But the DePaul game, they throw a lot of different defenses at you, make you adjust quickly.
Right.
They struggled in that game to get any continuity offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Notre Dame game, I thought, that was a great battle,
Right.
and it could have gone either way. It just so happened Diamond got that fader to go at the elbow,
Yeah.
at the buzzer, and they got out of there with a win. 1 point, right? 1 point
Right.
win.
Yeah, I think
So,
it ended up being one.
yeah,
2 point. It was 2 points.
a 2 point game. Okay. It was tied. You're right. But then the Nebraska game, like, let's not forget how tough Nebraska is.
Yes.
With Judge Shelley and Alexis Markowski, those kids can ball out, and when they're on their A game, which is definitely something that Big Ten teams know about. Last
They were.
year especially, how they plowed their way through Big Ten conference play. I just think that's I don't want to say it's a bad loss. I know they've been like right teetering at the
Yeah.
bottom of the top 25, and other teams receiving votes for most of the year so far.
It's a
But
good
I think
team, but I think that's still a bad loss.
the way they lost was
It's
bad.
20. You lose by 23 at home, and
The way that was bad.
and you look at Nebraska's box score, and it's very clear. Like, there's 12 of 25 from three. They get hot and they start shooting.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't know. Did you? I didn't get to watch this entire game, but did it feel like Maryland, like, kind of packed it in, or like what was the reason why it got so far out of hand?
Just those lulls in offensive production for
Okay.
Maryland. I thought, yes, Nebraska knocked in the 12 threes, but I think for Maryland they couldn't get that continuity going on the offensive end. I think Abby Myers has been fantastic this season for them. She was like slow in that game getting any kind of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think defensive transition, I think, in that game was a concern for Maryland. Like, they were getting some of those threes, not all of them, but some of those threes came in transition where they were kicking that ball up. That shot was going up before they were ready to defend it. So I think that was a concern. But I don't think Maryland packed it in. I don't think it was like they
I wouldn't expect them to.
gave up. Right. I don't think that was the emotion I got from that game. But I just think that, they went for long stretches without knocking in shots. And that became tough. And then the pace of play, I think that favored obviously Nebraska in that game, because they were able to push with the pass, and they were able to knock in some shots in transition, and caught Maryland off guard in that respect. And when I say off guard, is like, hey, we're back, but we're not matched. Hey, we're back, but we're not pushing them off the 3-point line. And I think that was the biggest issue that they had in that game. And 23 points on paper sometimes feels differently when you're watching the game. So kudos to Amy Williams and her crew. It was a 23-point win, but it didn't quite feel like that. You know how you can like feel like they're just on top of you, can't breathe. But I just think that it was I think it was more of the defensive transition and the lack of continuity with the offense.
Yeah, and we've seen some of those lulls before. I mean, obviously against South Carolina.
Yeah.
Guess what? Everyone's gonna have lulls.
Yeah.
That's how they play. But against Nebraska, that's a team where you kind of should be able to score. But I did have a question. I was thinking while you were talking, is it more infectious to the other side of the ball to be missing shots or giving up buckets? 'Cause I feel like the answer is it's more infectious. It missing shots infects your defense a lot more than giving up buckets does your offense, because, well, first off, you're in transition, so
that part.
yeah. Right. So you're in transition when you're missing shots, but
Yeah.
also just it gets really hard when you even when you think you're getting a good shot and you can't make it. I feel like there's more of a head down type of thing for players at all levels, from high school to the NBA, of
Mhm.
like, I missed that. I'm not getting back. Now I'm not matched. Now we're in, $1 million other things are going wrong.
Right. No, agreed. It has to be missing shots. I mean, especially if transition is an issue,
Yeah.
right? Getting back defensively and being matched, or getting back and, hey, it's not my man, it's our man. We got to get a hand up.
Hmm.
Like, I don't care whose match that is. We got to stop that person. Um, but I think, you know, when you're taking shots, and I'm not saying this happened a lot of times,
Yeah.
but sometimes just in basketball in general, when you're taking shots that your teammates don't know are going to go up,
Hmm.
right? You're
Yes.
out of rhythm, like you're not in your offensive set. Like you run 5-on-0 in practice, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Here's a shot. Boom, 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 boom. We're not getting that shot. We're getting the next shot. But you know what's coming, right? So when shots are taken out of rhythm in the quarter court, you're not going in for the rebound because you're not knowing, like, oh snap, they're taking
Yeah.
this shot. So now we're not in position to get the offensive boards.
There's
Now the
not a
other team
back
is
guard.
off and running,
Yeah.
right? And now do we have enough people back, right, to take away their transition game? So it's almost like a turnover, like bad shot
Hmm.
decisions turn into, to me, that's what I always used to say as a coach. Hey, when we take bad shots, like out of rhythm shots, like forced shots like that, that's turnover because we can't get in for offensive boards, and now the other team is going the other way, right? And now we're in rotation in the open court, which is not fun, right? Because there's so much space to guard. There's so much communication that has to happen within a blink, and you got to be on it. You got to be on it or you're going to get burned. And I think sometimes for Maryland, like when you are missing shots, when you are in a lull offensively, you're going to tend to force something like, we need a
Hmm.
bucket, so let me just go ahead and shoot my shot, and it may not be the best shot. Okay, and now your teammates don't know that that's going up,
Yeah.
and then now you're in rotation in the open court, and now you're in trouble, right? Now you have issues in terms of matching up with anybody, not
Hmm.
just your match, but somebody gets somebody, right? And now you're in retreat mode, and you don't want to be in that mode.
I love hearing you talk about basketball, Christy.
Oh,
I'm totally stealing that 4 shots or turnovers. I might start scoring them like that, to be honest.
tell them, tell the babies, tell them.
Yeah, yeah, I might. That's gonna be said in our practices. Um, so yeah, so they lose the Nebraska game. Big, big
Yeah,
win over Purdue coming back. That was a Cheyenne Sellers um, buzzer beater,
yeah,
and she's having a
yeah.
heck of a season.
She
As
is.
and we knew this. We knew this. We
Yeah,
saw her last year. I saw her last year in the Baylor game for like 2 minutes. I was like, "Yep, her. Get
love,
her on the court more. She's a
love her.
dog."
She is. She is. She doesn't care.
Yeah, and I think with between her and Diamond too, like
Yeah.
those two dogs,
She,
with really long arms, very tough defensively.
yeah.
So I was happy to see her get a nice highlight. And now this UConn win
Right.
is going to be interesting to look back on, because obviously UConn, it's just riddled with injuries. I don't even know if we can list all of them, but AZ Fudd, Paige Becker's obviously still out for the
Yeah.
whole entire season. AZ Fudd's out for a number of weeks. Nika Mule's out. Who else? Dorka Uos still out.
You
Someone else
hostile.
got hurt. I'm missing an injury. I don't even remember one.
I don't know who else. But just how AZ went out. Oh my God, I saw that live and I was just like, oh my geez, oh flip. Like, I hope she's good. And she tried to go back out there and
I
play.
don't remember.
But Maryland, they were able to get that win back on December 11th on
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. And I think for Maryland, I think that was great, to bounce back from, the couple of losses that they had there in non-conference play and get themselves prepared. I think I saw something in the Big Ten newsletter. Chris Masters, shout out to you for doing the newsletter for the Big Ten. But there was a note in there that said that Maryland was the first Big Ten team to beat UConn since 2004 when Michigan State
2004.
2004 when Michigan State beat them. So that was, I mean, for the conference, that was a big win. It was at home for Maryland where they lost to Nebraska. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, they recaptured the pride of the home court, with that big win. So they're not going to have in the win-loss column who was able to play and who wasn't able to play, right? No one's going to feel sorry for you. That's the whole thing with injuries.
No
And
one's gonna feel sorry for UConn, certainly.
no, but I hate injuries so much,
Me too.
man. I really do. Um, but Maryland still had to play that game, right? And they still had to make the shots that they made. They still had to get the stops that they got, regardless of who's on the floor. So I think, they didn't come in thinking, well, they're missing these people, so let's go in here and play.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's Maryland against UConn. They have who they have, we have who we have, and we're gonna play
Yeah.
and compete. And I think that's what you saw in Maryland, and give UConn credit too, because I mean they battled, shorthanded,
Yeah.
and that's the best they could do that day. That's the best you could do that day, and that's all you can ask of your team.
And
If that's
and
what it is, if that's what you can look yourself in the mirror and say, man, I gave everything today. That's the best I can do today. You accept that from your team, but you also know your team, right?
Right.
You know if it was their best effort. You know if it was their best focus. You know if it was their best approach. You know if it was the best they could execute the game plan. Was that your best? And then as a coach, now that you're a coach, you have to hold them accountable to what that bar is. Okay. So, I mean, if Gino can say, hey, this was our best, then you move on to practice and, get ready for the next game. But
I wonder if Gino's ever said that.
I don't know.
Feels like Gino Auriemma is the type of coach who never thinks you're at your best. You could win 4 straight national championships, and you could still get better in his eyes. No, but look, they had 7 players. UConn
Yeah.
does, but guess
Right.
what? All 7 of those players are 5-star recruits, and heck of a basketball team
There
still.
you go.
So I think that's a great win for UConn. And to your point, when we get down to tournament selection and seeding and where this team lands, it's just going to say win against UConn, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's between that and the Notre Dame win, like this whole first part of the season, you can say, hey, well, we took our bumps,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we're okay as long as we compete in our conference schedule the way that we think we should.
Absolutely.
Now, a conference schedule is going to be pretty tough, as we've
Yeah.
talked about ad nauseum, because of how many good teams there are in
Right.
the Big Ten, and just like looking around the conference, have we changed any of our feelings in this conference yet? Because obviously Ohio State has been without J.C. Sheldon for a little bit.
Mhm.
We've seen Iowa drop a couple games, even despite huge Caitlin Clark performances.
Yeah.
We've also seen Iowa give like great defensive performances, which is sometimes not expected. We've seen Purdue be frisky and tough. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you pay attention to this conference as much as
Mhm.
anybody else does. So, have you changed any of your feelings around here?
No, I still think, with 5 teams in the top 25, the Big Ten is not to be played with.
Mm-hmm.
Stop playing with the Big Ten. Stop playing with us. No, I just think that, when you look at top to bottom, like you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at a team like Ohio State, who hasn't had JC Sheldon in the lineup a couple games, whatever, they're still able to do what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? The philosophy is still the same. Kevin McGuff has mastered the fact that they can run their 2-2-1 press without specific rules. And you were just talking about, if you don't know the rules, it's hard to scout, right?
Right.
It's like the rules are, what you kind of live by as someone who's scouting. But when you're just flying around, I remember Taylor Mikesell told me at the media day this year for the Big Ten media day, I asked her about the 2-2-1, and I was like, man, that's become you guys' personality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you guys come out there and you run that 2-2-1 to perfection. You guys are on a string and on a chain. You're out working together. And she's like, to be honest, we're just flying around. To be honest, like we're just rotating. We're backing each other up. We're getting the next pass. We're trapping and we're rotating on a string. So that's hard to scout against when you're just flying around innately. Like, how do you scout against that? Like, you don't know what the next move is going to be because you don't know the rules of their 2-2-1. So it's kind of like, they're just playing like,
Yeah.
piranhas out there. They're just like, nah. Like, we don't know where, we're just going to follow each other. Like, we don't know. You can't scout this. We're just hungry and we're going to get the ball. I mean, they're forcing 27 turnovers a game. Like,
Oof.
dudes, forcing. Like, that's third in the country. So, I mean, their defense, and not just their press, but I think when you get into the quarter court as
Yeah.
well, their defense is like on point. They're together. with it. Madison Green is back, and JC Sheldon took over for her last year when she was out with the ACL.
Yeah.
So I just
She's
think that
helping out.
they have each other's backs, man, and it's their defense that has them third in the country right now. And they have their princess game tonight, and I love
Oh
that.
yeah.
That's so cute. They have so
No.
great things. But they had dads and daughter. They had girl dad day,
Oh.
and it's just fun stuff. Like they're doing it the right way. I love the dub chain. They re-up that,
Yeah.
the dub chain. Whoever gets it at the end
Yeah.
of a win, and Kevin McGuff doing the gritty last year will still remain the favorite dance. So Kevin, we need a new gritty edit done for you. But I love the way they're playing. I mean, and Indiana too. Like these teams, I mean, they're not to be messed with. You saw what Nebraska did to Maryland. It's like we haven't even gotten into the thick of conference
Yeah.
play.
We've
Like
only had a couple
Iowa
games.
Indiana game, the Maryland Ohio State game. Like, it's gonna be insane once January hits and those games are gonna be coming fast and furious at us, Gabe.
And we felt that last year, and I think
Yeah,
this year it's even tighter. To be honest, I mean,
it
I think
is.
there's so many good teams in this conference, and
Yeah,
Indiana, I believe, is still. I don't know if Grace Berger's still out or
he's
if
still out.
she's still out. I don't know if she's
Yeah,
coming back soon.
yeah,
So that's a bummer because obviously we want to
that
see her
is.
play, but hopefully she's healthy. But yeah, Ohio State, number 3 in the country, and I think it's well warranted because of what you said. I mean, it's tough to beat a press, especially if the
Yeah,
team's pressing for 40 minutes and they're continuing that effort in the quarter court, in the half court. It's tough to beat. That being said, they haven't played like a great schedule. It looked a lot better early in the season, but with Tennessee kind of falling out of it,
yeah,
Louisville falling out of it, their wins don't look quite as strong as we anticipated.
right,
I think Louisville is going to come back around at some point. Maybe not be a top 5 team, but they'll be in the top 25. So that'll be
right.
a good win. So we're still waiting to see Ohio State against their big test, like you mentioned, when they could go to play Indiana, Maryland, and all those schools that are going to give them a lot of trouble. And hopefully JC Sheldon's there to
Right.
give them yet another weapon. But actually, I was who was I texting? It was Dano. I was Dano. I was
Okay.
texting Dano, and I think either his phone or my phone auto corrected Kevin McGuff to Kevin McMuffin. So now we just call him McMuffin. That's just the man's name now.
Does he know that?
He does not know that. He does not know that. He doesn't know me. So I'll introduce myself, and then maybe later I could tell about the McMuffin thing.
That is that is
So
funny.
yeah, Kevin McMuffin doing a great job at Ohio State. And that I do want to talk. So I think we both pick Iowa to win this conference, or maybe one of us picked Ohio State.
I may have, just because they have 11 returners for
11
Iowa, and I was kind of going with the experience of winning
Right.
last year with those guys,
Yeah.
And if any other team had 11 returners, I would kind of say that as well.
Yeah, and the best player in the conference.
And they won right last year. So
but they have 3 losses this year. And they have 2 losses that you're not really going to bat eye at, losing to UConn in a neutral site, and then losing at home to NC State in the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
right.
Both those teams, top 5 teams, are great teams. Just seems like when Caitlin Clark goes
Right.
off,
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they're at their best. Doesn't seem like that's the thing that they want to do. I don't think that's what Caitlin wants to do. So do you think that dynamics, like, is that statement correct, or am I off base?
You reminded me that it was the NC State game where she had 45 points.
I'll pull it up. It was a lot.
45 or 47. She was
45.
45. Okay. She hit a logo shot, a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's always going to be like that.
Yeah.
And that's not shade. That's just like, she doesn't have a warm button. It's like, she's hot all the time. Like, she's hot. Like, she's going to go 1,000%. She's going to give everything. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's sometimes teams will say, and who knows if this was the game plan during the NC State game, let her get what she's going to get, and let's stop everyone else.
Especially Sonano. I feel like that's a if you're
100.
doing that strategy, it's Sanana that you're like, let's just double in the paint and we'll stop
I
her. I
think
mean, I think that's the strategy that has worked multiple times. I
yeah,
and it's tough, right? Because we just want to sit here and say, wow, 45 points, that's
right,
awesome.
right,
And there's
right.
never a shot that you're going to tell Caitlin Clark not to take.
Shoot that thing. Listen, if I'm coaching her, you pass up a shot, I'm subbing you out if you pass up a shot. That's what I would tell her. Like, you need to let that thing fly. Like,
So in a sense, and let me know if you agree. Like, I feel for Lisa Bluter because like you
yeah,
can't change who you are, and
yeah.
you can't change who your players are.
Ah,
But at the same time, there's a growing number of games where Caitlin Clark has gone off and you guys didn't win. And I don't know how you react to that as a coach because it's
right.
tough. You don't want to tell her not to shoot more. You don't want to tell her to force the ball inside. You don't want to force the issue. But
Yeah.
maybe they I don't know. I don't know what the solution is for them in those situations.
Yeah. I mean, she's averaging 27 and a half points and 7.5 assists. So it's not like it's just let me get the ball and pop it. Like
Yeah,
she initiates offense too. She distributes as well. So
she takes what the defense gives her.
exactly as she should, right? I
Yeah.
mean, she's an aggressive mindset player. Like she's not settling for any shots that she takes. She's not settling for any pass that's available.
Hmm.
She's making plays. So, like you said, you can't change who you have on your team. You can't change the mentality of the players you have on your team. I mean, she's a killer, right? She's
Yeah.
like, she wants to go kill every play. Um, and I love her for that. It's just hard when teams scheme, like you said, to let her go for 45 and then, you know, we'll try to just contain the other
Right.
four. And if we can do a good job with the other four, we win. And that's what NC State Coach Moore did that, right?
Hmm.
In that particular game where they just flooded the paint and didn't let Monica Sonano be comfortable down there.
No.
And they took away the threes from the other players, for the most part, but they disrupted the other four players to the point where they did enough to win. And yes, Caitlin Clark had 45. But it's
That's.
like, okay, she can have that. And I get it. Like on NC State's perspective, she can have the 45,
Mhm.
right? But we need to do everything else because she's just an elite level player. And we're shaking her hand on that. Like, take our hat off to that.
If she scores 70 and she beats you, whatever,
That's
whatever,
hey,
whatever.
we gotta take that, shake her hand in the line when we're going through. But if we can disrupt the other guys, who have a ton of experience together, if we can monkey wrench their chemistry,
Mhm.
even a little bit, that gives us an edge. And I think that's what you saw in terms of what NC State came into that game with and how they designed their defense. So kudos to them for that because that's not an easy thing to do.
No,
You
and
know,
I love
let
that.
somebody.
I remember Wes Moore last year after winning the ACC championship.
Yeah,
He said, next year I might start looking real dumb without Lisa Cunane and all of the players they had last year. They're still 8th in the country and
yeah, they're
looking
still tough.
pretty tough, pretty
Yeah,
tough.
I know, John.
Um,
Yeah, they're tough down there.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll we'll get into the ACC just a tad bit in a moment. Do you want to touch on anyone here? And actually, I'll go down the list and just say the
Sure.
ranking so everyone knows where we're at right now in the
Yeah.
Big Ten.
Oh,
So we have
nice.
Ohio State at number 3, Indiana
Yeah.
at number 4,
Mm.
Iowa at number 12, and who? Oh, Maryland's at 15. There it is. Michigan at 19, and that is it for the Big Ten right now. So that's 5 teams, right? Yeah, I
Five.
got them all. Got them
Yeah.
all.
All five.
Um, and Indiana, another team that's had some nice wins. They have that really nice win over North Carolina. North Carolina's been a lot better
Yeah,
in the last couple of games. They beat them by 24,
they
which
did.
was
Yeah.
shocking.
I was on that game, Gabe,
Yeah,
and the fact that they didn't have Grace Berger
yeah.
on that game, and they did what they did. I mean, it was impressive, and it was at home. It was at Indiana.
Hmm.
But what I thought was most impressive was the fact that they, Terry Moore and the philosophy that they have on defense was alive and well. Okay, and they played rugged.
Hmm.
They attacked the rim. Mackenzie Holmes was getting loose.
Great. Great to see her healthy.
It was really great to see her healthy. But I thought, what was very cool too was that Terry Morin had on the Grace Berger sweatshirt during that game. And I asked her after the game, on the interview after the game, and I said, hey, you have you're sporting that Grace Berger sweatshirt and everything, in the absence of Grace, I know it's hard for her to sit out because I was watching her during their shoot around, and her healthy leg was bouncing. And hey, listen, if you played ball, you know what that leg bounce feels like. Like, you want to play, man. You want to get on the floor. So I was watching her, and her nonverbal communication there was like, man,
get me out there.
It stinks to sit over here. So I said that to Terry, and she was like, yeah, I figured that, with the NIL and everything, while she's out, we can sell this and put some money in her pocket. And I was like, man,
that's baller. Let's go, coach.
Just to lift her spirits. And with the NIL, there's so many creative things you can do, but I just thought that was really cool that she has Grace's back, right? But the way that they played was amazing. And major factor of the 24-point win was that they just never let up. And I know emotionally maybe they were charged with Grace not being there. Everybody has to play that much better and harder and stronger and smarter. But I thought they were fantastic in terms of their execution of the game plan. Took North Carolina out of that game early and stayed on them, and just never let up and kept their foot on their throat and just came away with a strong win at home. So I thought that was great. And at the time they were 5-6 in the country.
Right.
That game was 5 versus 6. So, and then without Grace Berger. So coming into that game, it was like, oh man, what's this going to look like? Indiana came out and took them by storm early, stayed on them, and got away with a really strong win over an ACC team that's going to be really tough in the ACC.
Oh, yeah. And that's a team that absolutely has no give up in them. So beating them by 20, it's a legit 24-point win. You have to earn every single point at the end against North Carolina. And they have a good matchup against UNC. And to be honest with Mackenzie Holmes, I mean, I don't think UNC has a player to match Mackenzie Holmes. That's been their weak spot. So, I mean, it was good. It was good to see her just dominate when she has that matchup. And I think if this is indicative of where this team is going, I mean, I think Ohio State and Indiana are on a collision course here for some great games, and hopefully we'll see them at the end in the Big Ten tournament. But we'll see what happens throughout the season, because maybe Maryland gets up to a point where we're like, yeah, we need to see them, or Iowa gets back in gear, and they kind of move up. But I think Indiana right now and Ohio State are the class of this conference, and they're going to be really, really tough outs, especially at home.
Agreed. I mean, when you have, the conference play, across the country, right? Conference play is going to be so epic this year. And I can't wait, for the calendar to turn to January, man. I know there's going to be some a little before January.
I got one for you, actually.
Talk to me.
So I'm going to go to the ACC like I said I was going to, because on, what is it? Why didn't I write down the day, Gabe? I think it's on Sunday.
Come on, Gabe.
On Sunday. All right, cool. Sunday at 4 p.m., Notre Dame at Virginia Tech in Castle Coliseum. It's going to be awesome. That's number 5 versus number 6. Another 5 versus 6 matchup. Two teams that they play different styles, but I think they're really good matchups for each other. The point guard matchup couldn't be more different. You have Olivia Miles, who's high flying and running around, getting her triple doubles, making the highlight reels, and you got Georgia A. Moore, who's just spunky and tough and ready to get in the mix and do whatever she needs for her team to win. I think that's going to be a knockout, drag out matchup if those two match up against each other. Obviously, Elizabeth Kitley's going to be inside.
Love her.
I think she's going to, and she could have a big game, but Lauren Ebo has been having an excellent season.
Her hands.
Great hands. And so those two matchups alone are amazing. Unfortunately, Ashley Wusu is going to be out. She broke her pinky. So, sending good vibes to her, good, healthy vibes so she can come back soon. Miss her for that one. But this game is circled 8 million times on my calendar for Sunday. I got to make sure I watch it because I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah, I mean Virginia Tech, and they've just been solid. Great start out of the gates for them.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashley Wusu, hopefully that won't keep her out too long. And usually, you know, for a broken pinky, what's that? 6 weeks or
They
less?
said out indefinitely, so I guess they're just kind of seeing because you can break your pinky in like a bunch of different ways,
I know that's
and
like how
so
serious that is. Okay, so usually 3 to 6, like that's a
yeah,
window that's
yeah,
typical for that. So hopefully she can make it back, before the thick of the ACC portion of the
mm-hmm.
season begins. But man, I love that game too. I'm gonna have to circle that.
Yeah.
Would you say 80 million times?
It's like blacked out. Like I just have to know that's
We're gonna
there.
circle that.
Uh, no, but that game's gonna be sick, and I've been
Yeah.
on this Virginia Tech team for a while. I'm hoping they can make a statement, especially at home,
Mhm.
because they have a lot of them. And I do want to mention one other team,
What do you got?
and let me see where they are. Are they not ranked anymore?
Who you have?
Oh, Virginia. Virginia should be ranked. The
They
Virginia Cavaliers.
should.
Hey, how about it? An 11-0 start. They
Come on.
have surpassed their total wins
Wow.
from the last 3 seasons combined, or at least from
Wow.
when COVID hit.
Yeah.
They've matched their win
Like
total.
40 or 9 games, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Amaka.
Amaka,
Amaka Agugwa. That's my girl coaching down there now.
and
She's turning them around.
it's very impressive, and it's not like a murderer's row of a schedule, but they play real teams. They just beat my William and Mary Tribe, and and Coach Dickerson down there, who's doing
Oh,
a
yeah.
very nice job
Yeah.
building up the program. Not quite as fast as Amaka has, but they have it. They have a win over Wake Forest, which is not a win they could get last year. They beat Penn State on the road.
Right.
This team just looks like they're competent. They're ready to go. I mean, adding Sam Brunell from Notre
Yes.
Dame has just given them such a boost, and just made everything make a little
Mhm.
bit more sense.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be, I think, just another tough team in this conference. And you already looked at the conference last year, and it
Right.
was so tough. And now we're adding in another team that is not an easy out. And
Right.
I don't know how it's going to turn out for a lot of these teams because hey, we can talk about my Miami Hurricanes. We've been dropping some games I don't think we should be dropping,
Yeah.
but we're going into the
Close,
conference schedule. It's going to be tough.
close games, though.
Close games.
Close
We shouldn't be that close to. I think we lost to Columbia, or was that the dudes? No, the women lost to Columbia.
Yeah, it was the women. Yeah.
It's been a rough stretch for Miami. Let's get back to Virginia. I just think they're going to be awesome. I think they're having this is a great year. This is a great year for them, and they should be really, really excited. But
Yeah.
Again, this conference is just tough.
Loaded.
Yeah,
Loaded.
especially at the top.
Yeah.
It's nice too because it's number 5 Notre Dame, number 6 Virginia Tech, number 7 North Carolina, number 8 NC State.
Dang.
So they're all right there.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Ooh, I'm telling you, it's gonna be in the thick of it in January, baby. That's
Oh
gonna be,
yeah. No, and that so Sunday is that first big ACC matchup.
yeah.
Couple other games too. Just so Creighton plays 2 big games, and I have a very soft spot for Creighton
You do.
because I covered them in last year's tournament. I got to know them a little bit, and they're a
Right.
really awesome, fun
They
team to
are.
watch. Great
Yeah.
system. Speaking of another team that I love, they host Arkansas on Saturday.
Okay.
So I have a short amount of time to figure out who I'm rooting for in that game. I don't know.
You gotta
I'll just
flip a coin on that one, honey, because I know you love Arkansas too.
I gotta get in there and just see what's happening, and I'll
Okay.
feel it. I'll feel it out because it's in Omaha, and
Okay.
we'll see how Creighton's crowd is. But I don't know. But then Creighton goes to Stanford,
Wow.
and they have opportunity to show the world who they are, and I think a
Great.
lot of people are going to be surprised at how this team runs their offense, at how good they are, how organized they are, and how tough they are to beat. And who knows? Maybe they pull an upset in Palo Alto.
Right.
But yeah, it's going to be a really interesting. We'll call it a Christmas break. It's a
Air quote it.
Christmas break. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with all of these teams as we head into the conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're heading towards another just knockout, drag out conference schedule because we didn't even talk about the SEC.
No, I mean,
and it's gonna be tough.
That's
And we haven't talked about Angel Reese or LSU yet.
how many 30-point games has she had this year? Like,
I think she's only had double doubles I'm pretty sure she's only had double doubles this year.
I just saw she had 32 and 15 with some blocks in their last game. I saw on
Oh,
her Hoop Stats Instagram where she was like a stat of the game again. I was like, again? She's got
okay.
30 something again against somebody. I'm like, man, she's down there just killing it. What does she have? Who did they play? She had 32 and 15.
She had 32 and 13 against Lamar. See,
And
that's the thing.
still.
And no shade to our friends at George Mason, but they haven't really played anybody yet. So that's why I haven't gotten super excited about LSU.
Okay.
Just because they need to play someone for real. They haven't played a Power 5 team yet.
Right.
That changes on Sunday.
Ah.
They have a neutral site game against Oregon State. So maybe next time we talk, we're talking LSU.
Okay.
Maybe next time we talk LSU.
Yeah.
But for now, I kind of want to ask, since it's almost Christmas, do you have a basketball Christmas wish, Christy?
Oh my gosh. A basketball Christmas wish list. Can it just be one thing?
It can be as many or as little things as you want. Santa's always listening.
Oh, we love.
Oh wait, I have this.
Oh, you have a stocking?
Santa hat.
You have a hat.
It's also a Miami Heat hat.
I love it. Wait, what does it say?
It says Heat.
Oh, the Miami Heat. Okay.
I only have sports branded stuff. Obviously, I only wear stuff that has logos on it. It has the Heat logo and a little snowflake.
I love it. Okay. So for me, number one, it's somewhat not realistic, which is, I mean, if you know me, I'm very optimistic. I'm very glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell it like it is. So I'm just going to say it. So my number one thing for every team, for each team, is to stay injury free.
No more injuries.
No more injuries. If there was one Christmas wish, Santa, listen up, that no one gets hurt, for the rest of the year, and let's just play these games, man. Yeah. So that's my number one thing. My number two thing would be, let's have at least half of all the conference games in the Power 5 go to overtime.
Oh,
yeah.
Christy wants free basketball.
I want free basketball. I want drama, right? I want edge of the seat. Yeah. I want to be hollering at the TV, whether I'm calling the game or not. I want my headset to be crooked. Yeah. Here for the action. I think that's it. I think I want injury free and I want overtime basketball. Those are my two things.
All right.
So what do you have?
So I got a couple things. Well, first and foremost, I would like the inaugural Christy Winter-Scott Classic to be just the best event in all of the Christmas tournaments across the country. And that's on December 23rd.
Yay, jazz hands.
So I'm very excited for that. So that's my first wish. My second wish is to again wish for no injuries. I would like no more injuries.
No more.
My third wish is going to be for the Miami Hurricanes to find their footing. They've had some injuries. It's just been like kind of up and down because of how many new people they have.
Right.
Especially at this big positions like point guard. They're working with a bunch of new players. So I want some continuity there, and hopefully it extends into the conference season for my own sake. I especially want JC Sheldon back because I had her very high on my draft board, and I just want to see more of her.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think.
What else do you have?
What other Christmas wish do I have? Well, I want no more injuries for my own basketball team as well.
There you go.
Or the Washington Wizards, because they're getting pretty tough to watch for the both of us.
A lot of injuries. So hard. That's what I'm saying. No injuries. Like, we're done with them.
And I just, what our other wish would have been for Brittney Griner to come home and to be back in our lives, and she is. So we got that one.
Playa Society, thank you for the show. Yeah.
Playa Society, as I like to call it.
Say playa.
Because that's what the word is in Spanish. All right.
Playa.
And just like my last wish is the same thing I think we always say, is that everyone enjoys the game and continues
Yeah.
to love it and get more of
Oh,
it, educate everyone about it, because it's such a lovely game,
it's a beautiful
that
game.
means so much to us,
We love it.
especially when we get to put it in perspective, like we can with BG coming home.
Yeah.
It just feels even that much more special,
Yeah.
and something that means so much to us. So, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating. Just
Yeah.
have an awesome week.
Celebrate.
And we're sending our love to you, and we hope you're watching hoops, whatever you're doing, and make your family watch basketball. My
Yeah.
family's gonna watch so much basketball.
That's
They're
nice.
coming. They're coming here this year, so it's like, you're coming to my house. Basketball's on. I don't
On
want to hear
every
about
TV, can't escape it. Every room.
it. I might put up more TVs, just so there's more.
And your laptop, have everything running.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. No, we wish you guys happy holidays, all the best with your families, and health, happiness, and joy. Those are the three things that, money can't buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
stay true to it. You're not new to it. You know where that joy resides, and it's right in here. And, it'll always be here on Courtside with Christy and Gabe on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. We don't have to go home, but we got to get up out of here and get some eggnog and some holiday things, even though I don't like eggnog that much. But
Oh, you don't like
whatever.
eggnog? I have to make a coquito. It's Puerto Rican eggnog.
Oh,
It's really
I'm
good.
going to Gabe's house because he's going to have basketball on all over the house. So I'm going over there to get the Puerto Rican eggnog and
Coquito.
hoops. And some hoops. And he said, go heat. So, I mean,
Wait.
that's fine if the heater on. I'll watch it. But anyway, go Seahawks and go Hoyas. And everybody stay safe out there. We love you guys for watching and checking us out today and listening to our banter about the lovely game of basketball. We love it so much. We love you guys a lot. And happy holidays. We'll see you next
Yeah.
time. For
See
Gabe
ya.
Ibrahim, I'm Christy Winter Scott. Deuces.
Bye bye.
Bye.